AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
It's good to be back, and thank you for joining us here on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590 Omaha's ESPN Radio. What's been going on at Joe's? I haven't been down there in a little while.
Oh, everything's doing good, but man, when we opened up the show and you're saying it's good to be back after coming back from Cancun, I've got all kinds of pretty images in my head. And you came back to Nebraska.
I'll put my shirt back on.
Did you see a lot of landscapes down there?
The scenery was well maintained.
Oh, I bet it was very well maintained.
It was well maintained. It was very well taken care of. They definitely fertilized and
a lot of glowing.
Yes. There might have been a couple of women down there. I don't know. We weren't paying much attention.
Don't tell me you were paying attention to the guys.
I'm God no. I'm Dan Taylor, but there's a couple of them you look at me going, seriously, you're wearing a Speedo and you're pushing 350. I'm glad you're comfortable with your body.
That sounds like a perfect description of the WWE.
Yeah.
350 and a Speedo.
Except those guys take milkshakes, not performance-enhancing drugs. I'm Dan Taylor, back in the country. It's been... actually, I jumped on a plane 1 week ago and flew to Cancun, and I thank God for the internet. I was able to at least keep track of what was going on at Crawford, keep track of what was going on at I-80 and Eagle, and you've kept me up to date a little bit. I did, because I love this sport. I'm glad I'm a part of it now.
So
as
now,
a little a part of it as I am.
We're going to get into this a little bit later, but how many rollovers did you see in Cancun?
There was a lot of people rolling over, drunk. Just rolling over.
That was a pretty vague description there.
I figured I better define that before we get into too many issues. But Turn 1 brought to you by Shamrock Limousine. Want to say thanks to our friends over at Shamrock Limousine, especially Jim, 712-352-0539. You want to go outside of the box? You want to get yourself a limousine for a bachelor party? Maybe you want to go to prom in style? Shamrock Limousine, Jim will take care of you. It's not some secretary that's chewing bubble gum in a fro. She's that's irritating and doesn't care about you. Jim will take care of you in any way, and that's his direct number, by the way. That's not some answering machine number that he'll get back to you when the time's convenient. That is a direct line to his cell phone number, 712-352-0539. He's got and obviously the best thing that you can do is to rent a Shamrock Limousine. They've got this beautiful green one for St. Patrick's Day. Why wouldn't you do that? Yeah. He says
that's brilliant.
He said he just absolutely loves it. The people have a great time doing it.
We had a ball in that limo for the Silver Dollar Nationals. I was calling, Hendricks Motorsports and ordering a couple of motors, maybe a chassis.
How's that restraining order going, by the way? Did you get that cleared up?
Not yet,
okay.
but they're telling me to back off of calling them.
Call Shamrock Limousine today, 712-352-0539, and get yourself a limo from Shamrock Limousine. Very affordable, and they'll take care of you the way that the Front Stretch guys love to get taken care of. It's personal, one-on-one service. I got you a little present when you were down in Cancun. So, or when I was down in Cancun.
It's short, round, hard, and wrapped.
Oh, God. Just open it up, would you? Coming up in Turn 1, we're going to talk a little bit about what were we going to talk about in Turn 1? I forgot.
I forgot, too.
Okay, well, we're going to figure out something to talk about in Turn 1. In Turn 2, we're going to recap the trucks in Eldora. It's our first time talking to you since the trucks in Eldora. Turn 3, we're going to talk some NASCAR news. And in Turn 4, we will preview the Tricky Triangle. We're heading to Pocono today in just a few hours.
Cancun in a bottle.
Yeah.
Sand in a bottle.
There's some seashells in there, too. So you keep asking me to bring him back, and they specifically said when I was in Germany last year, they said no bringing back of soil, and that's what you were asking for because you like a lot of people, you saw Saving Private Ryan, you wanted some soil from all across the world. They don't let you do that because of the bacteria in the soil, so they were actually selling that at the gift shop. So
thank you.
I figured that's safe, and so there you go. And you can also calculate up how many pesos to dollars by the price tag on the side of it.
Not only that, I now own some international property.
There you go.
So is all the sand down there like this?
Oh, it's beautiful. It
Really?
absolutely. It's. I sat there one day on the beach. We took one day to just sit on the beach, and I just ran the sand through my hands, and it was just. It's obviously a different feel. It's sand. It's not dirt, but I'd never got to do that before. I've been around the world at very cool places, but I've never sat at a beach, and I've never got to go swim in the ocean before. It was very cool to do that. God, if you ever get the opportunity, don't pass it up. It's just absolutely serene to sit on the beach and to see just how beautiful everything is.
I bet everything's beautiful.
But I'm ready to be back and see the beautiful.
Tell you what, you
racing
missed
that we
a
get.
hell of a week of racing. A
I
lot of
hear-
hard-fought battles, a lot of rollovers. I mean, we're at the end of the season now on dirt, where you're going to see the intensity go up 3 or 4 notches. We're going to strap down the belts a little bit tighter, and we're going to have at it, boys.
I want you guys to get your opinion ready to go, because in turn 2, you know what? Let's just do it in turn 1. I think we got somebody calling in right now. So, a question you post on your Facebook page, and I saw that while I was away, and you got a lot of response about it because it's a big dirt track topic right now. Why are there so many rollovers?
Well, the one thing I noticed as a driver, I'm not going to call out specific tracks for rough driver and tearing cars up, but just merely an observation that I stated on Facebook was that when I go to Denison, you know, any track you can get into somebody or somebody can get into you and you can bend some sheet metal, but it seems like exponentially we have a lot of rollovers at Denison. What is the cause of the rollovers?
I did notice, what was it, last week, the previous Friday, not 2 days ago, that I believe it was Kyle Furr in the 55 Sport Compact, and then somebody else that night too also rolled because we had back-to-back red flags. And I was curious as to, it seemed just as soon as they got turned sideways, their car just went. So is the track tackier? And again, we want to go ahead and just start this off and say we are not blaming any tracks. We're not trying to put fault. Listen, I'm not going to attack my own track. I'll criticize it when it needs to be criticized so that they get their stuff together. But I can't see, other than, what was it last year about midway through the season, they just had a bad night, and there was that rut. Or what was it? A berm.
Yeah.
For the cushion.
Yep.
Just as huge, and everybody was popping tires coming out of turn 4.
As a driver,
that was a track prep issue. The accidents I've seen have nothing to do. I can't make the connection to track prep, but I've only been doing this for 2 years.
As a driver, in my opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent, once again, this is just my opinion, I raced Harlan last night, raced Denison on Friday night. Denison, to me, is not as big as Harlan, and therefore you would think with Harlan being bigger than Denison, you're going faster at Harlan, and you probably are, but Denison is so fast and racy that it's shocking. It's mind-blowing just how fast we're going at Denison, and we're going 3 and 4 wide a lot at Denison, really, the one thing I do like about Denison is we were just talking about this before we went to air. It doesn't matter if you're running first or second in the feature. You look back at 10th, 11th, and 12th, and there's still a race going on there. There's a race everywhere on that track, and everybody's vying for the same. But the talent pool is so deep in each class.
It's a 2-groove track. It's not a single groove track where it's hard to pass. It's definitely easily a 2-groove track. I think it's a 3-groove track. Some nights, when they get it absolutely right, it's a 3-groove track.
The other thing I think that lends itself to, and this is all tracks here when I'm talking rollover. Now, Denison, we have, to me, exponentially a lot more rollovers than any other track out there right now. But Denison shines because Denison, to me, a lot of tracks, 1 and 2 is the same as 3 and 4 and vice versa. 1 and 2 at Denison are different than 3 and 4 the way you drive them. You've got to have seen this when you're sitting up there in the squawk box at Denison announcing the races.
Yeah.
Therefore, your setup, Denison is a setup track. And everybody, I think that today's cars, the technology that goes into it and the setups that we have on them, while that's not solely to blame, that lends just a little part to it too. We're using such softer springs on our cars nowadays in the open wheel cars. I'm not for sure on the hobbies or stock cars because I don't drive. But the late models, the modifieds, the sport mods, we're soft sprung. We're doing everything we can to get the left rear hiking up in the air. You know, a lot of the guys are 3-wheel in the cars. We're just racing harder and harder and harder.
402-573-0590. Give us a call today, 402-573-0590. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, I would love to hear what people are thinking.
Because the fans in the stands have a great view for what's going on. Drivers in the pits. If you're a driver, if you're a fan, whoever you are, 402-573-0590.
I tell you, 590. One other thing. Man, Jason Cole.
Yeah. What's PJ call him? The Mo Valley Missile. 6 feature wins
as of last
in a row.
night. Woo! 6 feature wins in a row. He had a great lead going. Really smooth. And the one thing I noticed about Cole is he had such great throttle and car control. He was coming off turn 4 at Harlan last night. Car got a little sideways. He's down there on the bottom. He corrected it, saved it, and he could still drive off. But, man, I don't know what that guy's doing under the hood of that car, but whatever it's doing, it's working, and everybody's really got to be taking attention to that.
We're just having a little bit of an issue with the phone line right now. Go ahead and keep calling in, 402-573-0590. We're going to put you direct to air, so please let us know who you are, where your home track is, and let's keep it clean.
You know, Friday night we had I didn't see the Sport Compact race. We had 3 rollovers in that Sport Compact race.
Yeah.
Friday night at Denison. Last night at Eagle, I got a report from a Sport Mod driver that there was 5 rollovers.
Jeez.
Great house, great track last night, Eagle. It was a pretty hammer down, pretty tacky, very, very smooth track. We want to send our regards out to the driver. I believe it was the 5S that went to the hospital on a stretcher, but I don't think it was any life-altering or injuries or nothing like that.
Good.
But it's just getting checked out.
Let's see. I think we got a caller now. Who's this?
Good morning, gentlemen.
I don't even need to know. How you doing, Barrett? PJ?
Well, doing pretty good. I'm finally getting over this cold that plagued me, of course, the night before I did your job.
Yeah. Do I still have one, by the way? I hear good things. I may be unemployed now.
Oh, I don't think I can fully take over your job. That's a lot more complicated than I thought, but we got through it.
Yeah, good to hear. So you've been hearing us talk about the rollovers. You saw it Friday night, and obviously we had one. We've had. God, I'm trying to count on top of my head. 3 on Friday night, so that takes our total to 7.
More than that, because then we even had the sprint car, Stu Snyder.
True. So PJ, what do you think sitting up there, and you're down in the pits a lot with these guys? What do you think the main cause is?
Well, this all kind of started with Carol Webb, and that was right towards the midpoint of the year, and it's gotten worse since. I think a big part of it is just it's getting towards the end of the year. A lot of guys are trying to go for that last position, try to improve their point spot, get a little bit more money at the end of the year. And honestly, other than that, I really don't know because the track prep has been spot on all year. The guys are running the same. I mean, I know we ended up 21 Sport Compacts checked in. Carol Webb, unfortunately, could not make the call for the feature, so we started 20. That's the second biggest car count we've had in that class. And I think a lot of it's just a lot of really close, really tight race. I mean, them guys, you look at the Crawford County Speedway Facebook page, they updated their cover photo to a shot of 5 wide with the Sport Compacts. And they're just getting together left and right.
You know, PJ, the one thing I've heard by some drivers, and I think drivers go a little overboard from time to time. There are times, honestly, in racing, and especially in dirt track racing, where guys will lean into each other, drive into each other, stuff like that. But at the same time, a lot of the times when they claim that stuff, when you look back at the replay or pictures, it's just honest, hardcore racing. You'll have 3 cars, 4 cars wide going through the corners like the picture that you're talking about. And if one of those guys gets out of shape in a rut or a hole, they'll come up and they'll door ding somebody. Well, and all of a sudden that other guy's potentially going, well, that guy's just driving right through me. No, he's not. The racing is so close, and
there's been some heated battles, but good spirited for the most part.
Well, yeah, but then that other driver is going, well, that guy just took me out, and this guy's driving rough and over. No, he's not. You guys are so stacked in competition.
Yep. Perfect example of that was with the rollover of Dusty O'Brien, the 3DS. Originally, the 188 of Davey Malone did get into him. There's no doubt about that. Of course, they black flagged Malone. And then I was hearing over the officials' radio, they were talking about possibly fining Davey $250 for malicious use of a race car. Well, of course, Randy Schrader, who is our videographer at Crawford County, I made a comment to that, and he and his son were both looking at the replay on video, and they freaked out, like, no, there's no possible way. He got tight. He pushed up. Not much he could do got into him. They got one of our main officials, TJ Ray, in there, looked at the video. TJ radioed down and said, hey, before we do anything, you guys need to watch this video. And then seeing it on Facebook, it was just a matter of Davey got in really low. I don't know if he was trying to avoid the tires on the inside or just really did get tight, but it's a deal where his car just started pushed and shooting up towards the outside, and it looked like they barely touched. So just up at O'Brien sideways, and then Dusty was just along for the ride.
You're saying that Davey O'Brien owes, or Davey Malone owes Randy Schrader a beer.
Well, not only that, but here's another reason I know that it was definitely not intentional. From what my sources, and of course my source being our celebrity guest pit reporter Joe Laddiehoff, Friday night digging around stories, he actually found out that Davey felt so bad that he traded Dusty straight across. He took the junk car that Dusty rolled and gave him that 188 car that Davey's just been flying in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now, is that a class act?
That's a class act. Yeah.
So that right there tells you that there was no intent, there was no malice involved there. He felt so bad. He's like, here, dude, I mean, it was my fault. I admit it. Here's what I can do to help remedy it. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're all right. Go back race.
I'd like to see Dustin's face on that.
Oh, he's a good guy. He was one of the first drivers I got to know there at Crawford when I was walking around the pits last year, just trying to get to know some of the drivers. And he tried to step up into the sport mods, just struggled all year long this year, and decided to go back to sport compacts, bought your old car at Joe's karting car that you guys built, and only
that was an Alex Davis car.
Oh, okay.
And then
that was the 121 from last year that Alex Davis ran quite well and actually finished second in points in Crawford County.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, real quickly, this is our first time we got to talk about Eldora. PJ, what was your thoughts?
Well, I didn't actually get to watch the race, but I heard quite a bit about it. Sound like it was an amazing race. They even had a dirt track moment with Norm Benning telling some other driver, I'm not sure who, he was number one. It sounded like a typical midweek dirt track slobber knocker, and I hope to God that NASCAR does it again.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they will. Give us your opinion on Eldora in Turn 2. We'll talk about it all. 402-573-0590. PJ, thanks a lot for your time. Have a great weekend, man.
You too.
We'll be back in Turn 2 to talk about the trucks at Eldora. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for The Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, located just north of Bass Pro. Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 200 people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team meetings, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Weekly Saturday night racing features the Midwest's best battling at the fastest third-mile track in the Midwest. Gates open at 5:30 with a green flag at 6:30 for IMCA modified, sport compacts, hobby stocks, sport mods, and Race Saver sprint cars. $10 for adults, $5 for youth 6 to 12 years old, and kids under 6 get in free. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
We're working the high line into turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn 2, presented by I-80 Speedway, i-80speedway.com. Check out their weekly scheduling, their weekly races, results, pictures, photos, videos. You can also get your tickets for the Cornhusker Classic, which is just around the corner.
That's coming up
crazy.
October.
Yeah,
is when that's coming up.
It's we head to Kansas, and then we come back for the Cornhusker Classic at the end of October.
When is that October race in Kansas?
October 6th is the Sunday. It's
That's
the 5th
Sunday.
and 6th. Yeah, it's
5th and 6th, and then the Classic I think is the following week.
Yeah. So, God, I'm so excited to go down there. Also, Iowa Speedway. They've got a big race coming up September Labor Day weekend. I believe it's the
September 7th. September 7th, because it's the same day as the IMCA Super Nationals Big Dance.
No, it's the 8th.
Or the 8th. That's that Sunday. The 7th is Saturday. Sunday's the 8th.
Am I going to get you to go to that?
I don't know.
Because we got an offer to go broadcast there, and I want to go broadcast there.
I know, but if I'm racing in the Big Dance at the Super Nationals, it's kind of tough if I'm there on Saturday night doing that.
Let's go see the trucks Sunday night at Iowa Speedway. Under the lights. Let's go do it. Come on. We can get up Sunday morning. We can do the show. You can go back to the hotel, get a little nap in.
I won't even
I'll go
leave
rub elbows
Boone
with...
until midnight, 1 o'clock.
So you'll get there just in time for the show.
Okay, you see what it's like getting me up early just to come here to do the show live.
Hey, you beat me up this morning. Of course, I just got back from vacation. So, Iowa Speedway, September 8th, 7th and 8th is the Cape and Roll Truck Series at Iowa Speedway. Sold out crowd last night, and Brad Keselowski takes home the win for the U.S. Cellular 250 as the Nationwide boys went to Iowa Speedway and put on a heck of a show. But let's talk about that inaugural Mud Summer Classic. I realize it's a little bit of old news, but we haven't had an opportunity to talk about it.
No, you've been gone for a week and a half. Basically.
And it doesn't change any at all. If you missed it, I really do think you missed a good race. Now,
that's the best NASCAR race I might have ever seen, period.
It's not the best truck race I've seen. I've seen better truck races, but it was a great race. And I was thinking about it the whole time about how much of a risk it is to run on dirt. Because, okay, you go run at Iowa Speedway. You don't have to worry about track prep, right?
Nope.
It's going to be the same track, pretty much. I mean, it's going to age a little bit with time.
Well, it's going to age. It can get a little...
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
If they would have messed up at all on track prep, which, that's the reason why you go to Eldora or you would go to a big a track like that, is because they have experience with these big-time races. They know what they're doing when it comes to...
Well, it helps when the track owner is Tony Stewart,
exactly.
too.
That's the experience we're talking about. And I think Tony was talking about they have 7 full-time staff members. That's it. As to, like some of these big tracks have, 500 full-time people, and then they bring in the part-time crews. But anyways, the track was fantastic. It was slick. It was beautiful. And I loved the race. I thought it was fantastic racing throughout the entire race. Now, the last, 10, 15 laps got a little bit strung out?
No, actually, the last 10 or 15 laps, I thought the top 10, 15 were running pretty close. I mean, anybody in the top 1 or 3, who was up there.
Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, Joey Coulter.
If any one of those guys would have bobbled, spun out, that would have opened up the possible W for anybody in that field.
Shock of the week.
Are you talking Bloomquist?
I'm talking Bloomquist.
What the hell happened to that guy?
He decided to remove the front sway bar. He was the only truck out there running without a sway bar. He felt like it would give him an advantage, and it didn't. It put an anchor in the back of his truck, and he went backwards quick. Finally got a handle on the car, was able to finish 25th out of 30 cars. Let's see. Yeah, he was 2 laps down. And so it's unfortunate. I was really rooting for him to do good. I wanted to see him go up there and do well.
Well, I figured he'd do really good. I was really pleasantly surprised at Jared Landers. But a lot of people scoffed, didn't take me serious, kind of laughed me off. I was rooting for old Kenny Schrader.
Well, heck yeah.
I mean, he actually held his own. Now, Kenny, in my opinion, on the NASCAR, when you get into the Cup, Nationwide, ARC, and stuff like that, as old as he is, he's got nothing to prove to anybody. He's a racer's racer.
He went out there to have fun.
He went out there and had fun, but I don't think anybody was going to give him credit for what he accomplished. He was on the pole.
Why wouldn't they give him credit?
What's that?
Why wouldn't they give him credit?
Well, they're like, oh, well, he's not Kyle Larson. Well, he's not
so
Jared.
What? He finna got on the pole.
He's not going to be very good. For his age and for what he was doing, he ran very, very well, and he led a good chunk of that.
Yeah.
There at the early beginnings.
Led
Kyle
15
Larson.
laps.
Kyle Larson, man, he was a force to be reckoned with. He was right there the whole time.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, was it him and Newman at the very end, the last 40 laps? In that last 40-lap segment, the last 20 laps was some of the best racing I've ever seen in trucks.
And you want to talk about Ryan Newman, all of a sudden, since he got his, you want to call it pink slip, not coming back to Stewart-Haas Racing in 2014, running for a ride. And the best way to get an athlete to perform is make him have a contract year. And that's exactly what Newman's doing. He's auditioning for a job right now. And he did very well at the inaugural Mud Summer Classic at Eldora, finishing third. Your top 10, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson. Austin Dillon got the win. Kyle Larson second. Ryan Newman, Joey Coulter, Brendan Gaughan, Timothy Peters, Darrell Wallace Jr., Matt Crafton, Dave Blaney, and Max Gresham.
A lot of dirt track racers, but Tim Peters, wow.
Yeah.
Never raced on dirt before.
Yeah. Never raced on dirt before and didn't really fall back. He started third, finished sixth.
He led it for a while.
Did very good for himself. And it was a good show. It was a very good show. And I think there was a lot of format to it that is outside of the norm. So I wouldn't mind seeing NASCAR maybe... I don't want to say adapt a lot of that to the everyday schedule, but I would love to see 2-3 dirt track races on the schedule just to mix it up, and I love the fact it was on Wednesday night. I didn't love the fact that it was on the same night we were at Denison watching the Nebraska 360s because I couldn't watch it live, but I love the fact that it was on Wednesday night.
I think, boy, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this. I was kind of...
Buddy J at joeskarting.com.
Thank you, yes.
Yep, just want to remind everybody.
I was thinking the Mud Summer Classic ought to be kind of like what the All-Star race is to the Cup Series. It's a non-points paying race. And the only reason why I say that is because you have a lot of these guys that have tried to prove themselves to get into the Truck Series. And then, point example, Tim Peters. Tim Peters did very, very, very well, as we just stated. But if you're vying for a cup or a truck ride and you're in that truck series and then all of a sudden you're being thrown a monkey wrench with this dirt, you're going to be like, well, now how? Wait a second.
Well, they didn't make it a non-points paying race when the Sprint Cup and the Nationwide, back then Busch, went to the road courses. These guys, it's a different style of racetrack. You got time to practice. You can get good at it. And there was 4 or 5 years there where the guys just weren't good at it, and it wasn't that great a racing, but eventually they got the hang of turning right, and that they've got to set up turn 7 to make sure turn 12 is on track. Road course racing is incredibly difficult, and they didn't switch it for that. They didn't say, well, that's a non-points paying race. It's just going to be an extra race.
The other thing I thought about with this Mud Summer Classic, and you said it best, the track prep couldn't have been any better. Wow. It was amazing. Took a lot of rubber. It was locked down. It was fast. But it makes me wonder, next year rolls around, and let's say they get, an inch or 2 inches of rain a day before, and it gets a little rough and ruddy. Welcome to dirt racing, boys.
And I was really surprised there wasn't more accidents. There was rubbing. There was what you would see on a normal dirt track night. Somebody got into another person. There's sheet metal up in the air, but they kept going.
In your comment, they got a little strung out there at the last 40 laps. I don't think they were strung out. I think that there might have been a single file follow the leader, but it's not like it was all the way around the track.
Yeah, and it's not that big of a track to where that can happen.
No, I believe it's a half-mile track.
Yeah, it's not like a Charlotte or a what's another track?
And that's
like
what I'm saying.
Club
anybody that would have been in the top 5, if they would have spun out, I mean, anything could have happened where the guy in the 12th could have been right up there in the top 5. It was the best race, in my opinion, best race I've ever seen NASCAR do. Not because it's dirt, but because of the mystique behind it. The driving, I've always said dirt driving is more of an art form than what we see on the paved courses. Your Daytona, your Richmond, whatever it is, I think the dirt is, I believe, honestly, not to be sentimental, dirt drivers are like artists. They go out there, they take a machine that's not designed to go 100 mile an hour sideways, drift through the corners. You don't see three-wheeled drifted cars on the NASCAR courses.
But you can't say that though, because it's a different type of style. It's a different. If you're three-wheeling on an asphalt, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
so you can't sit there and say that.
Well, no. In my opinion, yes. The way I'm thinking about it, yes, I can, because I think most anybody can go. You're paying Jimmy or Chad Knaus $250,000 a year. I bet you he could put you at Kansas and make you
Not
qualify.
A chance.
You don't think so?
Not a chance. No.
When he's getting paid that much money, but if we were to put you in a modified or a sport mod on dirt, do you think it would be harder or just as easy?
I have no idea.
In comparison,
I don't know. I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I don't have a clue.
Have you ever been in a Cup car? Richard Petty driving experience?
No.
I thought you've done one of those.
Nope.
Oh.
That was you that got kicked out of there.
Oh, that's right.
No, that always frustrates the heck out of me when people say, "Well, you could put anybody with Jimmy Johnson and they'd win." I don't think so.
No, I didn't say you could win.
I know. I didn't say you said that. I don't think so at all. I think Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus are the longest tenured crew chief, not only because they've won 5 Sprint Cup championships and a crap load of wins, but the fact that those two work so well together. Jimmy knows exactly where Chad's going. Chad knows exactly where Jimmy is going.
Oh, I agree.
When you have a wide receiver and a quarterback that are on the exact same page, they're going to the Super Bowl. But when you've got a quarterback and a wide receiver that are fighting, I'm going to give you Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens. They didn't like each other, and they weren't able to work well with each other except for 1 year. But Tom Brady, more of a laid-back, I'll get you the ball, but people don't love to give people credit. And I think Jimmy Johnson is probably the most talented driver.
Well,
I think Chad Knaus is probably the most talented crew chief. You split the two up, they're not going to have as much success.
Well, and I'm taking my opinion from the fact that I did do the Richard Petty driving experience, and I'd seen people that had never been in a race car go 150 mile an hour at Kansas. But if you're
150 miles an hour is a lot different than 215 into the corner, especially when
they don't do 215 at Kansas.
They do too.
Oh, they do now.
Yeah, they've been doing that into the corners. Okay. Your average speed is about 185, 190.
Well, that's what I was talking about on the result sheets, the average lap speed.
And they're going 3-4 wide. Well, okay, Scott, not 4 wide, but they're doing it under a lot more strenuous conditions. So let's try not to compare going at the rich. It's similar, but let's not. But we're getting massively sidetracked here. We started talking about Eldora, and all of a sudden we're fighting about the Richard Petty driving experience and how much it's like actually strapping down on a green flag day.
Well, no, I was trying to make my point as to why I think the dirt driving is more of an art form than what you see in Cup.
And I disagree with that too. There are certain tracks out there that drivers say that this is the hardest track to drive at because it's slick, you're sliding, there's different aspects to asphalt driving. There's things you got to take care of. Just like in dirt, you got to take care of certain things in dirt. You got to pay attention to certain elements. In asphalt, they're the same sport. You're still trying to go as fast as you possibly can and defy the laws of physics. You're just doing it at a different set of alphabet letters.
You know what? This would be a great question to put on our Front Stretch Facebook page.
Maybe we'll do that. But we're going to take a break and head into Turn 3. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
This week's Legend of Tomorrow on the Front Stretch is Lauren Scouten, continuing the long tradition of racing in the Scouten family and not willing to sit back and watch. Lauren has been racing since she was just 8 years old. Once she got started with karts, she's never looked back. Last year, Lauren took third place in season points for Junior 2 cage karts. Lauren's made her way around the dirt kart tracks, making laps at places like Little E, Butler County, and Little Sunset Speedways. When she isn't on the track, Lauren's very active, competing in shot put, volleyball, and karate. Lauren's long-term plans are to become a pediatric cardiologist, but in the meantime, she's loving her time in the pits with her family. Lauren listens to everything her grandfather has to say. After all, how many kids can say they're getting lessons from Nebraska Auto Racing Hall of Famer Les Vaughn? Make sure and keep your eye out for Lauren Scouten as she wheels her way to the front. She's this week's Legend of Tomorrow on the front stretch.
It's time to check out what all the dirt drivers already know. Joe's Karting is the Metro's best place to go for kart racing, where the only speed restriction is how good you are, reaching up to 45 miles per hour while twisting and turning through a 25,000 square foot building. Joe's Karting is sure to raise your heart rate. It's time to find out how fast your knuckles will turn white. Located in Council Bluffs, just north of Bass Pro and next to AMC Theaters. Online at joeskarting.com. Get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into Turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Man, I'm having a tough time getting track of all these sponsors. Turn 3 brought to you by Kansas Speedway. October 6th, Kansas Speedway. And I'm trying to read here. Don't give me text messages. October 6th, Kansas Speedway, kansasspeedway.com. Catch the fastest action on asphalt. Last time we were at Kansas, how many cautions was it? Was it 17 cautions?
It was nuts.
Brand new surface. Now the drivers have a little bit more understanding of the
3 and 4 was rough.
Yeah, a new tackier surface, more grip, but they've got a new car, and this car has been setting track record after track record after track record. 11 new track records have been set in 20 races. 10 in 20 races, and then we set a new one for Pocono today, which today will be 21.
Isn't it ironic? We opened up the season this year in NASCAR, and everybody hates it, and now everybody loves it.
Well, the tough thing, I mean,
you got to give the car time to come around, guys.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, and this is odd for me to say, the Fox broadcast at Talladega, and especially heading back to Daytona for the second time and for the final time this year over the July 4th weekend. I thought they did a fantastic job. Actually, I believe it was TNT that broke it down, so I'm going to give TNT credit and continue to criticize Fox. But they talked about how unstable the cars were at Daytona, the Gen 6 cars. It was the debut. And so all the factors of nobody wanting to tear up their car, nobody wanting to go home early and have a horrible point start to the season, and no faith in the car, basically. They just went single file. We saw a lot better racing at Talladega and better racing the second time at Daytona. So, yeah, the car's coming around.
What do you think is the biggest reason why the cars are coming around? What do you think the drivers and the teams are putting into these cars?
I think it's experience. Flat out 100%. I think they're getting the handle on the car.
Now, see, this is another one of those things that we can debate. I agree with you largely on that, but I don't think that's the sole thing. They're getting trust. Experience and trust are two different things.
I think they've had trust since race 5 or 6.
No, I don't think so.
It's gotten a lot better.
I think they have a lot more trust in their cars now than what they did at 5 or 6 races. At 5 or 6 races, they still haven't ran a lot of the track setups or a lot of the track designs.
Yeah.
So now they have. They've run everything. And now they're in that back half of the season where they've got the trust built up into their cars, and now that's the one thing we're seeing. They have the experience. The cars changed. Their experience didn't. So now they've gotten comfortable with the cars, and they have that trust in their cars. In dirt racing, hands down, I say this every week, the guy that has the most trust in his car that I've ever seen in a modified is Sabine. You'll see Sabine come. Now, he's got a new car this year, but man, 3 or 4 races into the season with a brand new car, he's winning a championship in Arizona. He's got trust.
I think you're stretching it a little bit. No. I don't think Doug Smith doesn't have as much trust. Wrong division. I don't think Chris Abelson doesn't have trust in his car.
In the sport mods. You know who's got a lot of trust in his sport mods? We were laughing about this at Harlan last night. This guy is bonsai I mean, we're literally calling him Bonsai. Ryan Top. Bonsai.
How did he do Friday
T4.
night, by the way?
He was bad fast until he hit the wall.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That guy's freaking luck is horrible.
Ryan Top is one of the most all the sport mod drivers at Denison are really good, really good. But Ryan Top is Bonsai, hold it to the floor.
I think that guy would be whooping everybody in the championship had it not been for bad luck. If he'd have just had no luck at all.
If he was a little smoother on the throttle, nobody would ever catch him. Now, Doug Smith, he won. I mean, he lapped people. I mean, he was fast.
Well, to finish your point there, I think there is a trust factor that goes into it. I think you're overdoing it. That the reason why Jesse Sobbing is winning is because Jesse Sobbing's freaking talented to the gills. He's got good equipment. He knows what he's doing on a dirt track. He knows what he's doing on a dirt track. So maybe that's what you're trying to say is that he trusts what he's doing. But I think the trust is a factor, but it's not the biggest factor at all. And I don't think it's the reason why we've seen some of this great driving.
Than, let's say, Chris Abelson.
Of course it's different.
How's it different?
They have the exact same cars. Same parts and everything.
No, they don't.
Okay, so they're not the same. So it's
Chris
not
has a Claimer motor.
Okay.
Jesse's got a 604 crate motor. But Jesse, now this is why I say trust.
You and I have thought about this before. Don't bring horsepower to the table because horsepower doesn't mean anything.
When you're down on horsepower, you have to drive the car harder. When you drive the car harder, things can exponentially go wrong and for the worse quicker.
You don't have to drive it harder. You just have to have it hooked up better.
You have to drive it harder.
Sobbing does very well with getting it hooked up. And it's all about getting the tires hooked up to grip.
Jesse drives it so hard, you have to have the trust in the car to drive it that hard to get it to hook up.
Man, you can tell we haven't talked in a week. This is the normal conversations, by the way, folks, so we do apologize for this. Back to our sponsor read. The next race at Kansas Speedway, check out the Grand Am Road Racing, August 17th. Tickets are available at kansasspeedway.com, but everyone's getting ready for the big race, October 4th through the 6th. It's the Hollywood Casino 400 coming up. Let's see, ARCA's going to be there on October 4th. Then that Friday or Saturday night, it's the NASCAR Nationwide Series, October 5th. And then the Hollywood Casino 400, October 6th for the Sprint Cup Series. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com. If you've missed any of the action, we have been a little critical off the air of Kansas with the racing, but I think resurfacing the track and adding that progressive banking helped out a lot.
Well, yeah, it really evened out the playing field a lot last year. I mean, I was noticing in the practice, I think I was telling you last year, watch turn 4. A lot of cautions are going to come out of that turn 4. And what did we see? We saw a lot of cautions coming out of turn 4, but it seemed that there was a lot of commonality with tire issues in turn 4.
Everyone wasn't anticipating the rubber wear.
Yeah.
It wore fast because we saw, I'm trying to pull numbers out of my head, and that's always a bad idea, but I want to say there was probably 5 or 6 tires that blew.
Oh, at least I thought it was.
There was
closer.
a couple of engines. There was a couple engines that gave way, and then there was a couple of big accidents. So, it was pretty insane.
Nobody wants to see the cars get destroyed or anybody get hurt, but when you can tell just by the previous races what was going on, how I identified being a racer, I identified turn 4 was going to be a problem, and then you saw that. To me, that made the race more exciting because then all of a sudden. Well, anybody's game for, blowing a tire and falling out of the race.
And the fact that Jimmy Johnson destroyed his car and still got himself a top finish.
I tell you what, that guy got my respect in so many ways after doing that. I mean, we've seen why he's Mr. 5-time. And that guy, I sincerely think Jimmy Johnson is going to go on. He's going to win his 6th championship. And if I had to put a number, I'm going to say he's going to finish his career with 8 or 9 championships the way he's going.
Came home 9th that race out of, what was it?
You had
how many lead lap cars there were. There's 22 lead lap cars, and Jimmy came home 9th.
With 3/4 of a car left.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was
what
insane.
A driver and crew chief combo.
My absolute favorite thing about Kansas Speedway, though, this is something that I will criticize the College World Series about. I'll criticize the Quest Center about, or the CenturyLink Center. Whoops, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Is that when you and I left the race last year, we left an hour and 15 minutes after the checkered flag had flown, and we were on the interstate 25 minutes later. So, and not even that, actually, because we were in the infield. They set that track up to where it's at the intersection of two major interstates.
You didn't take this long to be out of there at all.
No, I love that because I hate sitting in traffic. I'm the most impatient guy, and I hate sitting in traffic. KansasSpeedway.com is where you can get all the information for ticket packages, individual tickets. You can get infield parking, turn 4 parking, which was fantastic. Hopefully we can pull some strings and get that parking again.
Yeah.
I loved that section. I want to talk about some NASCAR news and notes. You and I were debating it a little, or talking a little bit about it before we went to air. NASCAR's turning older. Today, Jeff Gordon celebrates his 42nd birthday. And I was shocked to find out that he is not the oldest of the drivers out there. You talk about the drivers. I'm trying to find that article
Morgan Shepherd's got to be the oldest current driver.
We're talking, but we're talking active again, though.
Well, when I say active, not overall, I want weekly active. A guy that
36 races,
racing
completely. Greg Biffle actually happens to be the oldest at 44 years old.
Where's Jimmy Johnson at? He's got to be one of the top 5, I would think. Or Tony Stewart, even. Old Smoke's got to be. Smoke's starting to turn to embers now.
Let me find out how old Jimmy is. He's not that much older. He's what? He's about the same age as Tony because they came in a year or two apart.
And I would think Tony's got to be right up there, 42, 43 years of age. But Biffle, I would never have thought he was 44.
Jimmy is 37.
That's right. Jimmy, respect your elders. I'm older than you.
And Old Smoke, 42.
Wow, looks like he's 48.
It's NASCAR's getting older, and that's kind of a little bit of a wonder. But they're trying to go younger, but you can't force these guys out, especially when we're talking about guys like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards. These guys are getting up there in age to where if this was any other sport, we'd be talking about they're going to get pushed out of the stable. But they're still doing well to where you legitimately, as Rick Hendrick, cannot sit there and say, I'm not going to re-sign Jeff Gordon because I got a better shot of winning with who out there.
Yeah.
Gives him a better chance.
Well, I would think this has got to be a benefit for the drivers coming into the sport today because back in the mid-'70s and early 80s, you didn't see the 18-year-olds and the 19-year-olds coming to NASCAR. You saw your 35, your 20 to 25-year-olds coming into NASCAR. And now when you're starting to bring in 18-year-old kids, Joey Logano comes to mind.
Yeah.
That guy could easily have pretty near a 40-year career before he retires. Yep. Honestly. When you look at Morgan Shepherd at 70 years old and Joey Logano at age 18, he's got a 58-year-old body, and he's racing weekly.
I want to bring this up, though. Morgan Shepherd is out there racing at 70 years old, but he's not competitive. Mark Martin, however, he was 30 years ago when he was closer to his prime. Mark Martin, who's getting up there in age, obviously, getting a little wise, little more
but
wise.
He actually he's got a body younger of ours.
He's competitive. That's the difference between him and Morgan Shepherd.
Had Morgan Shepherd been a health nut like Martin, would he be just as competitive as Martin?
I don't know. I honestly, that's such a variable.
Look at you and I. Look at our body types. If we go on a 5K race, you'll be done before you get out of the building.
Never, not a chance. I'll go on a 5K couch ride. Let's see some other NASCAR news and notes. Obviously, Johnson won the pole for today at Pocono. We'll talk about that in turn 4, but let's recap Indy a little bit. Rough day. Actually, not a rough day. It was not the best race.
Kind of boring. I didn't get to see it.
I mean, there was good racing throughout, but there wasn't. If I watched it last night when I got back from the airport, I don't think there was a single accident.
No, but you know what? The one thing about Indy, and you did bring this up during one of the breaks, let's talk about Newman. Yeah, he got the W, but he's got the pink slip, shopping for a ride. All of a sudden, he's turning the heat on.
I wonder where he's going. I mean, I just really do wonder where he's got room to fit.
There's some rumors in NASCAR, but I won't go into.
Well, go ahead. Let's feel free to speculate.
You want to hear some rumors? Possibility of going to Richard Childress.
Well, who's he going to take over for? Burton's already re-signed. Menard's already re-signed. Austin Dillon's coming up. So is Richard going to open up a fourth car?
There was a possibility, but one of the other rumors. Now this is all speculation, but one of the rumors I can't remember. It was on Facebook. Was the possibility of Childress going to Dodge Motors next year.
That's not going to happen.
You don't think so?
No, that's a horrible rumor.
That's kind of what I thought.
That's a horrible rumor.
But it was in the same like news feed story about Newman possibly going to Childress. I was like, why would Childress go to Dodge?
Childress has been Chevy since he's been driving the 3.
Yeah.
Not a chance would he go Dodge.
No, but I guess Dodge is looking to make a return next year.
They've got to be active in it. I mean, they won a championship the last time they were there. They finally made it pay off, and they got to get back in the game.
Smoke, he was top 10 at the Brickyard, wasn't he?
Got himself 4th place finish. Yep.
4th place. Now, let's
top 10.
Yeah, let's go through the top 10.
Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth being 5th. Dale Earnhardt Jr., even with his issues, got 6th. Jeff Gordon 7th. Joey Logano 8th. Juan Pablo Montoya 9th. And Kyle Busch rounds out the top 10.
Let's talk about Stewart a little bit. Here, I want to say about a month and a half ago, you and I were talking. Has Stewart turned the corner and turned things around?
I heard a very interesting conversation during the broadcast for Indy that Steve Addington had said, I was giving him fast cars all year. It just wasn't the fast cars that he could drive. He didn't like the way they drove, and it wasn't his style. Now, midway through the year, I'm learning his style and how he likes the car set up. I'm still giving him fast cars. It's just more to his liking. So he's able to work with the car.
So it sounds like Stewart was driving, honestly, an Addington car when Addington should have been setting up his car for Stewart.
Exactly. And Stewart-Haas Racing did have trouble with the Gen 6 at first. A lot of trouble with the Gen 6 at first, but they've kind of gotten their head around it. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show, so let's wrap it up. Head into Turn 4. Preview Pocono, the tricky try. Who needs a Turn 4 when you head to Pocono, Pennsylvania?
I love Pocono. It's one of my favorite tracks. I was just telling TJ from Denison Friday night, I would love to have a Pocono-style dirt track. That'd be awesome.
Oh, it'd be so much. That actually, let's build it. What do you say?
Yeah.
Let's just be completely
You would have 3 sets of grandstands. Yeah. You'd have banking in the corners like Denison.
We're going to wrap it all up in Turn 4. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
In 1999, Wade Cross decided he was tired of overpaying for shocks, so he created FX Shocks. Now FX suspension customers reach across the United States with countless wins and championships, including national champion in 3 major IMCA classes, plus Super Nationals champions in all 4 of the Saturday night's main events. Get your FX Shocks today. One-on-one consultation is waiting for you at 308-383-9609. 308-383-9609.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 200 people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team meetings, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the Front Stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Heading into Turn 4, brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs, the official watering hole of the Front Stretch. I was actually sitting on vacation. Thursday night was my normal night to go out to Quaker Steak and Lube for Classic Car Night, and I began to have withdrawals. Kind of twitching a little bit. Got a little cranky. So I'm excited to go back, and I can catch all the green flag Pocono action today. Pre-race starts at 11 on ESPN.
You can have some boom boom shrimp.
Have
Get
some
rid of the
boom
boom boom shakes, the twitches, the aches.
Have all that. 11 a.m. is the when the race coverage starts. Green flag waves a little after noon for the GoBowling.com 400 at Pocono Raceway. So, last time we were at Pocono, Jimmy Johnson flat out dominated.
Yeah, and he's on the pole today. I mean, come on.
And
is this even going to be fun to watch? I
think so, because the thing is that, like you said, with a lot of these dirt tracks, that even though the leader has checked out, there's still action going on 2nd through 15th, and you see that a lot at Pocono, especially with these guys diving deep to dive down into that outside of that groove to try to get the angle and get the position. Your top 5 last time we went to Pocono, race number 14 in June. Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Ryan Newman all had top 5 finishes. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano rounded out your top 10. So that's how the guys finished last year at Pocono. Jimmy's been good and obviously on fire. I think with how good he was last time at Pocono, I'm taking him again.
I'm taking Kyle Busch.
We're going to have to wait and see what Andrew says. I texted him earlier this morning, but he was racing last night, right?
Yeah, actually, Andrew got 6th in the SOMR series.
He's doing very well for himself.
Very well.
And I got to talk to him last week before I left, and somebody actually mentioned, hey, weren't you on the show with those guys? And he says, yeah. And he said, what'd you leave for? And he says, well, I needed to focus on my racing, and
I think it's paying dividends.
It's paying off a lot for him. He's feeling comfortable. He's much more relaxed.
You were such a distraction.
I know. It's my body. I just can't. It's now I got this nice tan.
Oh wow, I'm speechless.
Sorry, I know. Oh lordy. Your top 5 from Pocono last year. This time, feel free to stall for me a little bit, bud, while I flip pages and try to find it.
Why weren't you ready for this?
So, me prepared?
Well, I'm sure Kyle Busch had to be up there. Tony Stewart was up there. Dale Jr., I believe, was up there. Of course, Jimmy was up there.
They went and changed the race on me now. August 5th. This is great radio, guys.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
All right. Top 5 from Pocono last year. Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Martin Truex, Bryce Keselowski, Tony Stewart. Rounding out your top 10, Ryan Newman, Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer, Regan Smith, and Marcus Ambrose. Junior finished 32nd. So,
wow. Didn't he blow a motor last year, now that I think about it, finishing 32nd?
Come on. I just closed the page.
Oh, don't open it. It'll take you another 30 minutes to find it.
No, I know the date now, so I can get there a lot quicker.
Oh, okay. So, what do you think? Pocono, dirt track style, triangle, Denison corners?
Nope, he didn't blow an engine. He was running at the end. He was, however, 18 laps down. So he definitely had an issue. I don't know what it was, though.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's your results from Pocono. Last year, again, Pocono. Earlier this year, Johnson got the win. This is my first Johnson pick of the year, and I think it's pretty secure. I need to double check the results though.
Yeah,
to make sure.
I think you've taken Johnson once already.
Nope.
Oh, you haven't?
I'm saving him. I saved him for this race and for one race in the Chase.
Yeah, I was pretty excited because in our Pick'ems contest, I was waiting late in the year to start picking my drivers, for the second time, and I wanted to go a little bit more, but with a 6-7 point lead right now, I'll let you know by noon. But right now, I'm looking at Kyle Busch, but I think I've taken Kyle Busch once already, and I don't want to start taking my drivers for a second time.
You've taken Kyle Busch.
But man, outside of my pick so far, that doesn't leave a whole lot of good drivers this late in the season.
No, it doesn't. And this Pick'ems contest there's a lot. Dang it, we're out of time. But yeah, the few rules we threw in there really made it hard to decide who you're going to pick. We appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to us babble about dirt track and NASCAR. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. It's AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio. ESPN.